welcome to your 4 to 5. Look at this. I got all the men's today.
Right. Look at you.
I know. This is fantastic. All right. I'm Tanya Rivera, Chad Silver, Tim Buckley, Ben Briscoe. We are all here for the 4 to 5 today. Today is Thursday. Right?
So they say.
It is Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to be talking travel hacks. We're going to be talking about thrifting, a wild survivor story, and meteor shower.
A little meteor shower, that's right.
Okay. That's going to be coming up later on.
Absolutely. We're also on top of two major stories right now. A new report on the deadly shooting in Raleigh and a Davidson County child found locked in a dog kennel. Let's first talk about this report out of Raleigh. Ben, what's in it?
So we're finally learning some new details about that mass shooting from last week. The Raleigh police posted this on their website right here. This is their attempt to try to be as transparent as possible with the public. So
And how many sheets is this?
it's about 3 pages.
Okay.
There's 2 pages of text and then a picture diagram of where
Okay.
they say the suspect went.
Okay.
And basically what they're trying to do here is say these are all the facts that we know so far.
Right.
There's no opinions. It's straight just here's the evidence of what we found. And here's some of the big headlines from it. They say that they found the suspect with a shotgun, a handgun, and a large knife. The report also says that he stabbed his brother, the 15-year-old stabbed his brother or 16-year-old, and then shot 6 other people. We are also learning through this report that investigators believe the suspect shot and killed a dog. Investigators say the suspect, through all of this terror, was wearing camouflage and that he tried to escape along a Greenway walking trail. One thing that this report does say very clearly is that they still do not know a motive behind why he did this.
Okay.
One thing that really interested me was the fact that, and I don't think any departments in the triad do this, but they called it like a 5-day report, right? So it was like, we're not giving you any information until the 5th day.
So the reason that they do this, Raleigh's had some issues in the past with some officer-involved shootings, especially around the time of George Floyd, and they came up with this policy to try to be more transparent. And so that's their plan. They don't release any information until 5 days so they can gather all the facts, make sure they're right, and then they try to be as transparent as possible with the public.
Because there's so many stories and things going around, rumors going around after anything like this happens. And then everybody kind of tells their own version of the story. So at least this fact sheet is usually more than what we get even in trickled out amounts, over a couple of days' time.
Absolutely. And I did speak with Guilford County's former Sheriff B.J. Barnes about this report. I took it to him a little while ago, and he said that this is standard operating procedure nowadays, and it allows them to be able to work the investigation and then get the information out and not compromise the investigation early on.
Because how many times have we received information early on and then we're
turns out not to be
correcting
true,
that
yeah.
information?
Right, because they're hearing from witnesses, so-and-so said this, whatever, but then they're not able to really put the pieces together until that time.
Yep,
Okay.
and coming up at 5 o'clock, you're going to hear from BJ about his biggest takeaway from this report.
All right, Ben, thanks so much. The other big story we are following today is in Davidson County. A father, stepmom, and an aunt are in jail accused of felony child abuse. The sheriff's office says deputies found a 9-year-old boy locked in a dog crate outside a Lexington home.
Now, we are told that the child is relatively okay. The boy was taken to the hospital, released to social services, along with 4 other children that were found at either the home or at school. So the sheriff's office says they received a call from a concerned citizen early yesterday morning. They say the person reported that the child was locked in a dog kennel outside the home on Cress Road. Deputies responded to the scene, freed the child who was confined in the cage. Now, deputies arrested the father, Jonathan Starr, and the stepmom, Sarah Starr, for child abuse and false imprisonment.
They also arrested the aunt, Shelley Barnes, on those same charges.
I've been in law enforcement for 36 years. This is the first time I've seen something quite this significant, to be honest with you. It wasn't an isolated case this time. This has probably been going on some, and we're not going to release any more than that. But the importance we want is for you, the public, to get involved and help us. We, the sheriff's offices, are only as strong as people working with us.
Jonathan and Sarah Starr are in jail under a $100,000 secured bond, while Barnes was placed under a $60,000 bond. All 3 are scheduled to be in court next month. This is an active investigation.
Family and friends will lay to rest one of the shooting victims from last week's massacre in Raleigh. James Thompson was just 16 when he died, along with 4 others, including a police officer. 2 others were hurt. Thompson's 15-year-old brother is accused of the crimes. He is in the hospital recovering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The Orange County District Attorney plans to charge him as an adult. As for the wounded, one was a police officer who was treated and released. The other is still in the hospital.
A funeral for Raleigh officer Gabriel Torres will be held on Saturday. Officials say he was on his way to work when he was shot. The city is also planning a vigil to honor the 7 victims of the mass shooting. A Raleigh Healing Together is what it's called. The memorial is this Sunday at 3 o'clock.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, someone died in a mobile home fire in Thomasville this morning on Hasty School Road. Firefighters responded to the home where someone was trapped inside. A man ended up dying in the fire. It's not clear what caused it.
A Winston-Salem man walking on Highway 52 is dead after being hit by a car this morning. It happened just after midnight and shut down all southbound lanes of the highway near Germantown Road for several hours. Now, investigators say the driver stayed at the scene and at this point does not face any charges. Police are just trying to figure out why the man was walking on the highway.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission has approved new standards for dressers, armoires, and other furniture that can tip over. Nearly 200 children have died in tip-overs in the last 2 decades. The new standards will include stability requirements and detailed labels for buyers.
Second day in the row that we started with that big old frost in the morning. Right now, of course, though, sunshine has taken over. It's a pretty nice day, actually, and we are warmer right now than we have been in several days. Temperature currently is 61 degrees in our fair city of Greensboro. Take a look at that. Nice sky as well. Temperatures in your hometowns look just like this. We're around 64 in Lexington, 63 in Asheboro. It definitely feels different than it had the last couple of afternoons. We're about 10 degrees warmer than we were, for example, back on Tuesday. Here's one of the reasons why. Look close. See all these little guys? What are they doing? They're the winds, and they're moving in from the south. So the air is actually switched around now. Instead of a north wind, we're getting a south wind, and that's encouraging some of that warmer air to move our way, and that's a trend that will continue and fuels the warm up as we go into our weekend. Still, it's going to be cold tonight. Temperatures dropping down into the 30s for all of us. In fact, I still think the outlying areas will be dipping to around 32 or just below. Most of the cities will be around 32 or just above. Even though it's 34 or 35 at your house, though, you can still have that frost. That's definitely a possibility, so I want you to be aware for that. Allow that 5 minutes or so to scrape the windshield if needed, but this should be the last morning that we do it for quite a long time. Lots of sunshine for tomorrow afternoon. It should be a little warmer than today. I'm expecting us to get up to around 65 degrees, and that'll be your Friday. As we head into the weekend, I have warmer weather for you. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a couple of minutes, but I think 70s are on the way back to the Triad.
I want you to watch closely. You are looking at some wild footage of two Wyoming college wrestlers encountering a grizzly bear. You've got to hear this incredible story of survival. It's one in a rash of recent bear attacks around the world.
Descending a rocky ridge on Mount Futago in Japan, the climber hears something above him. It's a bear. The climber deflects the attack, but the bear's not done. He yells and hammers the bear with his fist as it makes another attack, continuing to scream and kick the bear until it finally runs off. The climber said it seemed like the bear attacked to protect its cub.
If you're out in the wilderness this time of year, fall, are you more likely to run into a bear?
Yeah, the bears are in the hyperphagia mode. They're eating 20 hours a day.
Ann Bryant, executive director of the Bear League, says in the U.S., grizzly bears can be the most aggressive, which is exactly what attacked college wrestling teammates Kendall Cummings and Brady Lowry in Wyoming.
It was a big bear, looked scary.
Both were hospitalized after getting mauled by a grizzly over the weekend in the Shoshone National Forest.
Bit me on the arm and shook me around, threw me.
Cummings told a local news station that after he tried to pull the bear off his friend, it turned on him.
It tackled me and chewed me up a little bit.
It sounds like they got lucky there.
I think they got lucky. If it would have been just one guy, I think it would have all been over.
Now, experts tell us they aren't necessarily seeing a rise in bear attacks, but to avoid bear encounters altogether, they say make a lot of noise when you're hiking through the wilderness. That way, you'll scare most bears away before you even see them.
That was extraordinary. You hear about bear attacks, but you never get to see them.
I don't want to ever really see that again. I've seen it before.
I still
it's
haven't
just
seen
awful.
it because I heard it and I turned my head the
Yeah,
other way.
you don't want to see it.
I didn't
Yeah.
really want to watch it. That is spooky for sure, you know, and I've done plenty of hikes solo before, and I have to tell you, I don't bring any sort of spray or.
Do you bring
no,
bells on your backpack?
Nope.
Because we do bells.
I don't. But, you know, something to consider, especially if you're out west with the grizzlies.
Right, we went to Glacier National Park. We did rent the bear spray and
Okay.
all of that because,
Yeah.
I mean, you just hear it all the time about how they all of a sudden they're there.
And very different from like the black bears we have here in North Carolina, right?
Two totally different things.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a foot or two taller,
Yeah.
and you're talking about like their paws and their claws are like a foot. Yeah, they said do not mess with them. Get as far away from them as you can.
Yikes.
Jeez. And think about how many people probably wouldn't been able to survive this.
No.
It's actually probably a good thing that these two were college athletes.
Right.
Like they,
Sure.
I mean,
Yes, they physically had the stamina
Right,
to be able to do
yeah.
that.
Tip top shape. Yeah. It's
Scary.
spooky stuff.
Yes, don't hike alone if you can.
I
And bring
know.
bells with you. Bells,
gonna walk
bells,
with a
bells on
big-
your
Like
pack.
a bicycle bell?
No, like jingle bells, right? I mean, for lack of a better word, but we just tie them on there so that it makes a sound all
I'm
the
just
time.
going to walk around with a machete everywhere I go now.
You're gonna have to talk to the bosses about that.
Yeah, all right. We'll be right back. Travel website Expedia released its annual list of air travel hacks, and some might surprise you.
After a summer of expensive flights, many Americans are wondering just how much heading home for the holidays will cost. The travel site Hopper reports Thanksgiving and Christmas airfares will be their highest in 5 years.
I think we're at a point in our lives where the price does have an effect on it, but we still travel.
But there are ways to save. Expedia revealed its annual Air Travel Hacks Report. Among the tips, the best day to fly for Thanksgiving is the Friday before or the day of. For Christmas, it's the weekend before.
Christmas this year falls on a Sunday, so if you leave on the Friday before Christmas, you're not going to be in good shape at all.
CBS News senior travel advisor Peter Greenberg says he often flies on Thanksgiving morning.
Get there in time to carve the turkey, and then while everybody's stuck at the mall on Friday, on Black Friday, you go home on Friday, you can go bowling on that plane. There's nobody on that plane.
That makes sense.
Right?
Another tip from Expedia, buy your airfare on Sundays. That will save you about 5% on domestic flights and 15% on international flights.
Business travel is starting to come back. Fares will stabilize on Sunday. You'll get the lowest deals then.
To avoid delays and cancellations, you want to book a flight earlier in the day. According to Expedia, a flight that leaves after 3 in the afternoon is 50% more likely to be canceled. And lastly, with the exceptions of holiday travel, Expedia says book domestic flights 1 month out and international flights 6 months out to get the best deals.
So if you want to book a ticket using frequent flyer miles,
Yeah.
experts say that you should consider booking nearly a year in advance.
Nobody does that.
Right, here's the thing though. There are 32 trillion unredeemed frequent flyer miles out there. A lot during the pandemic, so no surprise that airlines don't want to fill a seat with someone who's basically flying for free when they could put someone there who's actually paying money for it.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I just
especially
think-
since we're both frequent flyers.
I think it's kind of a racket. Like, I don't fly a ton, but I think I fly more than most people.
Yeah.
And I've never used like a wonderful free ticket.
Oh, no.
Like in its full value, I don't think. Maybe once.
Okay.
They don't add up. You need so many miles.
Yeah, and you really need to stick to one airline.
Yes, you have to
that's
stick.
for
That
sure.
is the key for sure.
And I don't do that. I just buy the cheapest one no matter what for every trip.
So you have 10,000 miles here, 15,000 miles here, 7,000
Yeah.
miles here, and you can't.
They're all spread out, but it's usually only 2 airlines. You know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, get to booking your Christmas
you
flight next
you
year.
still have
Next
though
Christmas.
a month, right, until Thanksgiving. So
Yeah,
you still
that's right.
You still got time. All right. Hey, with consumer prices up more than 8% over the last year, everyone can use a little extra cash, right? A North Carolina woman has a side hustle selling thrifted clothing, and she's really raking in the dough. While inflation hits all-time highs, she's going on the hunt.
We come in here and we just dig through all the clothes and look for stuff that's in style and or new with tags.
So Hibbard started her resale journey at the start of the pandemic when she took a break from her teaching job. She says while her husband works full-time, she's able to take her son to his extracurricular activities while spending about 3 hours each day on her resale business. So she says she earns about $1,500 a month. And so I guess how it works is if people don't want to go to the thrift store to do that, she's like doing the thrift store online, right? So you don't actually have to leave your house.
Pretty good.
It's not bad.
It's a lot of extra change every month, honestly. For her, it's pretty good.
I would think it's kind of unreliable, though. I mean, right? Like, you just hope that people will buy it.
Well, I mean, you think of what you put it up there, and if it doesn't move, then you you spent $3 on it, and you were offering it for like 7 or 10.
That's true.
Just gotta see what sells.
And that person did not have to hunt through all the stuff for the red shirt that they wanted or the
Yeah,
whatever.
that's a good point.
Right, especially around Halloween time, right? Because you're trying to amass all kinds of costumes and stuff, and you're looking for one specific thing.
To me, that sounds like such a task that I would not want to do. I don't want to go and hunt for stuff.
That's why you pay someone to do it. All right, we'll be right back.
All right, we're going to show you some pretty pictures about cold stuff. It's frost. There you go. This is a nice little photo from Greensboro earlier today. All those ice crystals, of course, on top of the grass, on top of the leaves. Really, you had to find it quickly, though, because this melted off very, very quickly. This is a photo from yesterday, actually. I just liked it enough that I wanted to show it again. Sina Smith, her doggies like to play in the frost, it seemed, right? And she said, actually, for them, it was quite a different sensation. You know, they're out and about every day. This was something different. So somebody enjoying that. It's not snow, but it'll have to do for now. Low 60s currently. It is warmer today than it has been in the last couple. And don't make any mistake about this. This is a cold spell for everybody across the South. It was even chilly and frosty in places like New Orleans earlier today. Really weird stuff with this cool spell. But it's 80 in South Dakota, so you know things are about to happen. We have high pressure and control. It's going to be moving across the country, and it will start to send that warmth closer to our area. Our winds are already coming in out of the south, so that means we're starting that warm-up process right now. Tomorrow gets closer to 65, and by the weekend, it's all about that warm flow. I will let you know, though, if you are going to the beach or the coast this weekend, the weather does not look as nice as it does here at home. Reason for that, there's a coastal low in the Atlantic. It'll be spreading some cloud cover and scattered showers toward the North Carolina beaches. That goes mostly for Saturday afternoon into Sunday. For tonight, it's still a cold one. We're down to 35. That's in the cities. Outlying areas will be right around 32, and you could still be dealing with that frost. For tomorrow, 66. That sounds all right. Sunshine, pretty good for those Friday night football games as well. Just bundle. And then after that, there we go. We're back into the 70s, and the mornings, they'll be in the 50s, not the 30s. So this is kind of that balancing act. When you get really cold, you usually end up to get really warm eventually as well.
Yeah, because I was all bundled up walking the dog this morning before sunrise. I mean, you can barely see my eyes.
Yeah, you got to bundle. We're not used to it yet.
No. All right, so we've got something to look for the sky.
Yes, that's true. So tonight into early tomorrow morning, it's a meteor shower.
Okay.
They always have funny names. This
What
one's
is it?
called the Orionid meteor shower.
Orionid.
So it's based on the constellation
Yes.
Orion, and it's been, they usually add an ID to the end. This is a good one, usually a prolific meteor shower of sorts. It's associated with Halley's Comet. So we've all heard about Halley's Comet. It leaves little debris in its wake, and those are the meteors that pass into our atmosphere, all right? So it's been active already from September 26th, and it goes all the way until November 22nd. The only thing about today is it would be considered the peak. So if you've seen a shooting star over the last week, it's probably been because of this, but technically tonight would be that peak of the mountain, and then we're going to go down that in terms of activity afterwards.
Better hours?
Best hours would be 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Of course.
So it's better to wake up early than to stay up late.
For sure.
And you really, really, really want to be away from the city, because this one does not have a ton of meteors. It has about 10 per hour.
Okay.
Which sounds like a lot, it's really not. And if you live in Greensboro or Winston or Burlington even, city lights will drown out a good majority of those. So if you're in an outlying area, you have a better chance for this one. If you live in the city, this might not be for you. The best one of the year comes up in December. That's the Geminid meteor shower. We'll talk more about that in a month or two.
All right.
But December is always cold, so.
Well, apparently
Well,
October
so is
is
tonight.
too.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's true.
that's right,
I
so.
forgot. Yeah, enjoy anyway.
Jalen, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you? Is that my mic or is that just my FB making that noise? Okay. Well, I guess it's just my FB. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Cool.
Welcome to the 4 to 5. Do not adjust your TV screen. Tanya Rivera is here joining us today. And Tim Buckley is here joining us
You know
today.
the thing about the 4, you turn it on, you never know who's going to be here.
You just never know. You always know that Jalen Gilkey will show up at some point.
I am usually here.
You are.
Well, good to have you here. I am Chad Silber, and we are more than halfway through the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are ready to go. You can watch us anywhere you like, not just on TV, on all those things.
Yes.
Roku, WFMI Plus, Amazon Fire. I like my Roku app.
You do?
I think it's my favorite one.
Okay. Well, so this half hour, we're going to be talking about two sisters using their clothing to raise awareness of Hispanic heritage. A new movie based on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. There's been a few of those, has there not?
Heard that before.
Okay.
What? I know the ending.
Right. And also a study that says what you should do if you need motivation to work out.
Go to the gym. That's your motivation. Just kidding.
Is
This is
it?
an interesting one, though. I want you to stick around for it because it's kind of interesting. It might surprise you. But first, today, early voting for the midterm election kicked off today. Jalen, you went to the polls to see them in action.
Yes, guys, I did. I went out to Brown Recreation Center located on the south side of Greensboro, and there was a constant flow of voters in and out all day long. Started early this morning. This location is just one of 15 early voting sites in Guilford County. You've got until Saturday, November 5th if you want to cast your ballot early. According to the Guilford County Board of Elections Director Charlie Cullicutt, the earlier you vote, the easier the process becomes.
Early voting is great. If you have an issue with your registration, if you've moved, if maybe you moved out of the county and came back and didn't realize you had gotten registered somewhere else, it's easy to take care of it early voting. And you have this convenience of picking the 15 sites that you go to.
If you are registered to vote, or even if you're not quite sure, this is the perfect time to get out to the polls and make sure your voice is heard, because that's what many of your neighbors have done already today.
I think it's important that we not only speak about voting, but also we demonstrate an action by coming out and voting ourselves.
If you have a voice, if you pay taxes, if you're concerned about what happens to you and your environment, you need to come out and make it heard. Don't sit at home and discuss it with your neighbors. Go out and make that vote, because that's the only thing that's going to count.
And if you need any information regarding early voting here in Guilford County or any of our triad counties, I've attached links to what you need to know in this web story on WFMYnews2.com.
So I respect early voting, but I'm like one of those people where it's magical for me to vote on
election day.
It's magical.
I can't go early because I feel like that's taken away from me. That's my magic.
Hey, if that's when you want to do it, you do it.
I want to put on my red, white, and blue tie, my American flag socks, get out there, get my little sticker. That's what I like.
You know what's funny? Because I early vote and I get that same sticker.
Yeah, I was about to say,
there.
you get the same. My sticker says the same thing.
You can't wear your red, white, and blue socks that day and look normal, okay?
Do you look normal on election day?
No. But the people have come to expect it.
Okay.
There it is.
Yes, they have. All right, Jalen, thank you.
Thank you.
North Carolina A&T and Bennett College are hosting a bus to the polls and early voting block party tomorrow. They want to encourage students to vote. A bus will take the students to an early voting site tomorrow morning. Then A&T will host a block party on campus. To find a list of early voting locations, text the word VOTE to 336-379-5775, and we will send you a link with the list.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. In Davidson County, a 9-year-old boy, 4 other children are in the care of social services after that 9-year-old was found locked in a dog kennel outside of his Lexington home. The sheriff's office says a citizen reported seeing the child locked in the cage yesterday morning at the home on Crest Road. Deputies arrested the 9-year-old's father, stepmother, and aunt for felony child abuse. All 3 are currently in jail facing multiple charges. They're expected in court next month.
We are learning new details today about that massacre in Raleigh last week. A new police report shows the suspect had a shotgun, a handgun, and a knife. It also says he stabbed his brother, then shot 6 other people and a dog. Investigators also say the suspect was wearing camo as he tried to escape along a walking trail. Coming up at 5, former Guilford County Sheriff B.J. Barnes shares his thoughts on the report and the investigation.
Greensboro Guilford County Crime Stoppers is looking for 25-year-old Zaria Pauling. They say that she's been missing for about a month now. Pauling was last seen at the Cavalier Inn on September 20th. Officials say she's been known to frequent the areas on South Elm Eugene Street and along Westgate City Boulevard. If you know anything about Pauling's whereabouts, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. The number's on your screen right now, 336-373-1000.
And police in Winston-Salem need your help finding an elderly man with dementia. 78-year-old Boulder Witherspoon was last seen this morning walking on Francis Street. Police say he likely thinks he's walking to work. He was last seen wearing a gray jacket, blue jeans, and a Panthers hat. Call police if you think you've seen him.
Cold weather has been the story in the weather world over the last couple of days, that's for sure. We've had those chilly mornings and cooler afternoons. If you are a fan of winter or fall, this has been for you. Temperatures are starting to warm up just a little bit, though. Keep in mind, our average high is 70. Right now, we're right around 61 degrees in Greensboro. Just a few wispy high-level clouds. Temperatures where you are, low to mid-60s across much of the Triad. In the North Carolina mountains this afternoon, they are in the 50s. Finally, for the first time in a couple of days. This is the warmest we have been since back on Monday. Winds have started to shift around a little bit. Now they're coming in out of the south and out of the west. That is a warmer wind direction for us, and usually it means we're going to start to bump our temperatures up quite a bit. But still, for tonight, it will be cold yet again. We're dropping down through the 40s, and then by midnight, we're right around that 40-degree mark. Over tomorrow morning, this is what you're waking up to. It's still really cold out there. We're right there in the upper 20s in some of the coldest outlying areas, more like mid-30s in most of the cities. So the frost is not a guarantee for tonight. It's more of a possibility. Still, allow a couple of extra minutes to scrape the windshield. Tomorrow afternoon looks great. I think you could do just fine with a light jacket or even just a t-shirt or a sweatshirt should be fine. Mid-60s for Friday. Once we get to the weekend, all this warmth that you see in the middle of the country, it really starts to head our way. That's when we are going toward the 70s, which will be bumping on back into our area and sticking around into next week. We'll have more on that in a couple of minutes.
All right, let's talk about some business. Latina-owned small businesses. They're growing faster than other segments of small business across our country.
And colorful clothes aren't just making fashion statements, they're also offering a lesson in culture.
Bold, beautiful colors, pops of personality, and bridal wear that's never been done before. These small business owners aren't just trending on TikTok and Instagram, they're bringing Latina representation to the forefront.
I no longer have to feel not enough from here, not enough from there. I'm de aquí y de allá.
In 2018, sisters Alejandra and Mabel Aguirre decided to create Cadena Collective. Cadena means chain in Spanish. These sisters say it's also a link between their roots in Mexico, their lives in America, and their bond with artisans.
The artisans that we work with, their growth is something that has made me want to work extra hard.
But lifting up culture is more than pairing accessories with an outfit.
We are one country, we are one society, but we are made of many, many different cultures.
Professor Juliana Martinez says more and more Latinas are embracing pride in their cultura or culture.
We're tired of pretending to be who we're not and to always having to assimilate in order to have a common sense of belonging.
I would look for items in Spanish and I noticed that there was nothing.
Janet Velasco couldn't find any t-shirts that said bride in Spanish or esposa for her wedding, so she started Siempre Moments.
Maybe the shirt won't change the world, the earrings won't change the world, but the person that's wearing them will because they feel empowered.
Weaving together a community, contributing to the economy, and sharing a culture one piece at a time.
Right, and like any small business, you build and build and build. So those sisters say they've already sold more this year than they did all of last year, and they're looking to add more top requested items, especially like for those brides-to-be and stuff like that. Which is super cool.
I love all the clothing with just pops of color.
Yes.
You know, it's not something that's extravagant and in your face. It's subtle, but I think it's great to be able to tie your culture in with where you live, what you do, and who you are now.
Yeah, especially if you saw like the fabrics or something like that your grandmother used to wear, your grandfather used to wear, that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you have that connection with it, it would be something that kind of represents you and where you come from also. I just like the colors too. It seems very vibrant and energetic.
Happy.
You know?
Yep.
Warm.
All of those things. Yes, all those things. Yes, for sure.
Very creative. I've even seen cell phone cases in here and everything too. They've really branched out to all types of accessories.
Right, culture is everywhere, right?
Yeah, for sure.
In every accessory. That's right, every accessory. All right, we'll be right back.
Okay, that was
What are we
a
thinking about
mishmash
this of 80s random music?
Yeah, that was strange. All right, there is a new movie out with a comedic take on the classic Shakespeare play Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, so we all know the story.
Right.
Okay. This time, though, it's being told from the point of view of Romeo's jilted ex, Rosalind. Okay, so that is something different. That one I haven't seen. Our in-house film critic, Manning Franks, watched the movie and has our news to review.
Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Such ancient words from Shakespeare himself that hast embedded themselves into our culture. We all know the tale of these star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet. Ah. But what if I told thee that there wast more to the story? What if I told thee that yond Romeo had an ex-girlfriend named Rosalind? Well, doth I have a story for thee? One where thou can expecteth hilarity.
I have cholera. You do not have cholera. You don't understand. They were being all gross, and he was saying things to her that he just said to me. 3 days ago. Yes. 3, nurse.
Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet has never been quite done like this. In this comedic retelling of the beloved classic, Caitlin Dever plays Rosalind, the jilted ex-girlfriend of Romeo. From her perspective, the two are madly in love as they secretly rendezvous at night and profess their undying affection. However, things take a turn as Romeo's pining shifts toward the younger Juliet. Rosalind, in classic rom-com fashion, simply can't let that happen. The trope of Romeo and Juliet is as uninteresting and tiring as watching paint dry on a wall. So imagine my surprise when Hulu's Rosalind injects some life into these old bones. The film, thanks to a brilliantly comedic performance in Caitlin Dever, refuses to take itself too seriously and instead trades the story's innate tragedy for blistering comedy. This playful self-awareness allows Rosalind to perk its shoulders above more traditionally familiar Romeo and Juliet adaptations. As over-the-top, shallow, and at times as predictable as Rosalind is, the film manages to breeze along with its big, bold laughs and a very committed cast. While Dever steals the show, supporting players like Bradley Whitford and Minnie Driver bring an air of lightheartedness to this film with quasi-modern sensibilities. They are having a blast, and the audience is clearly in on the joke, as if they are acting as asides in classic Shakespearean fashion. Rosalind's success hinges on the fact that it doesn't try to do anything more than what it sets out to do, provide an enjoyable time for the audience while respectfully riffing on an age-old classic. It's nothing revolutionary, but it is so earnest in its yearning for fun that you can't help but beam. You can tell Rosalind that this is to approve. You can stream this only on Hulu.
He absolutely made me want to watch it. Thou shall watch.
I'm here for it. You know, I just can't really get into Romeo and Juliet, just the storyline and just
No, because you've heard it a million times.
Classic, and yeah, it's just kind of blah. But I like this, and it seems like it has like a new
twist.
Yeah, but it just seems current.
Right, for sure. And who doesn't love a rom-com? Come on, we all like to laugh and do that.
I would love to watch it. I would love to see Manning in a version of Romeo and Juliet. Right. I think he's auditioning for us right now, don't you?
He did a great job.
He did.
I loved it. All right, so since we're talking about movies and whatnot, Netflix has had enough of users sharing their passwords. I know none of you at home do that.
Don't tell me what to do.
In an effort to crack down on it, the streaming service says it will launch 2 new features at the beginning of the next year. People will get an option to pay extra for what's called sub-accounts so that they can keep sharing, or people can transfer their profile to a new account. They'll just be the one footing the bill.
All right.
Thoughts?
I currently pay for my own Netflix, so I'm fine in this, but I use my parents' HBO and a couple other things.
Yes.
I pay for all of my own things, and I look down upon
He looks down his nose at all the rest of us.
I mean, it's like $10 a month, you know, but once you add up this one and this one and this one, it's like $40. So I get it, I understand. I'm just kind of surprised that Netflix waited so long to do this.
It is surprising, and you know, it is a business. They can do whatever they want.
Right. And you think, because I mean, they've been losing a lot of money.
And I mean, it has been out of hand, right? Think of how many people let people.
Sure, everybody
do that
does that.
stuff, yeah.
A lot of people anyway.
All right, so good news though, Netflix viewers, you could see prices come down starting next month. The streaming service has launched a new basic plan that includes ads at 15 to 30 seconds in length. Okay, but you got to get something to give something. The new plan will cost $6.99 a month in the U.S.
Okay. Options is good. You know,
yes,
more
absolutely.
affordable if you want it. You just have to watch those pre-rolls. Yeah, whatever you want to choose.
Sometimes I like the commercial. Like sometimes there's like a funny one where I'm like, I hope that comes up the next time too.
Right.
I don't like it in the middle. So if I'm in like, if it's the beginning of the episode, fine. I don't prefer it in the middle.
Yeah, when they cut in the middle of what you're watching and you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
Most streaming shows nowadays are created with no breaks. Traditional television is created with the intent of breaks. So it can kind of chop the flow if you have that right in the middle of things.
Right. The dun 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 and then
I'm
not.
sounding like Manning now. I'm too serious about it.
It's two. What does he do? Take two approved?
Two approved.
Two approved.
Two approved. We'll be right back. A new study found social interactions play a role in physical activity. If you're having trouble getting active, maybe you just need a new friend. Through a simulation study, researchers found people with a sedentary lifestyle became more physically active over time by spending time around more active people. Makes sense, right?
It does. Like you want to do what your friends do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your friend likes to go hiking every week. Well, you become friends with them and you're going hiking every week.
Right.
Just don't make friends with the bears.
Right.
Yes, we all lived through an experiment about this. It was called COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you couldn't see people or
Yes.
all? I didn't move that much. I didn't do a lot of
No.
outdoor things.
No, out of my friends, I think only 2 people actually looked better after COVID than
Yes.
before COVID, because they actually started exercising, but everybody else was like, yeah, no thanks.
It's hard when you're, not around people, or for us in this capacity, we weren't in this building.
Right.
Coming in, going back, all that kind of stuff.
I think the people who really benefited were those who have Pelotons, where you can interact with people while also working out.
Right.
I didn't have one. They're too expensive.
I didn't have one.
It's hard, when the couch is right there and you're just in the house.
Yep.
What are you gonna pick?
In the house.
In the house.
Netflix.
Just don't use my password.
I promise I won't use your password.
We have all these callbacks.
All right, Tim, we got to talk about some weather.
All right, we're telling you all about it. It's cold tonight. Not as cold as the last couple of nights. Frost has been the big deal. And in case you missed it yesterday, I was digging through some of the data. This is only the second freeze we have had in the month of October since 2000. That's really unusual because if you go back through the whole, line of record over 100 years in the Piedmont, the average frost or freeze for us the first time is in late October. But in recent decades, it's almost always been in November. That is a long-term trend as we start to see a warmer climate. It's usually happening in November. Here we are right now in the 60s. As we go into tomorrow, we'll be a little bit warmer than we were for today. High pressure still in control, so you're going to keep that sunshine around. I expect us to be around 65. A beautiful Friday in our area. Do be advised if you're going to the coastal areas this weekend, they're going to have clouds and rain. We will not have that here. We will have a beautiful weekend here in our part of the state. Lots of sunshine Saturday and Sunday, right around 70 both days. No more frost or freezes over the next probably 2 weeks.
Child abuse charges. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 mic check mic check mic check.
Hi there, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada. Brett, do you have some fun music on this for me, please? Thank you so much.
Hello, 5 o'clock news. Here we go. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
You are?
Because I'm a bad person and I didn't work all week and I forgot I had to do 2 cents.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination.
Forgot my jacket today.
Hi, we're getting ready to load the touch for my hit in the 5 o'clock.
Oh, hey, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
Well, when you said it, I was like, no, no.
Yeah, when you really
It has been a busy and exciting few weeks in the Silber family. Maybe you saw my post on Facebook today. Our family is growing. My sister and her husband revealed they're having another baby. My niece Charlotte is going to be a big sister. These are the cute announcement photos they posted. We are over the moon about it. Both my sister and her husband love to fish, so they incorporated that into the announcement. I always love getting new pictures of Charlotte. It's wild how quickly kids grow and change at that age. I FaceTimed with them last night, and for the first time ever, Charlotte said uncle. It was really cute. It'll still be another couple of months before I'm able to see her again, and by that time, she will probably be talking nonstop. I hate being this far away from them because this age is so important. I'm grateful for video chat, so at least we can see each other, even if not in person. I can't imagine what it was like before FaceTime, even before cell phones, when the only time you could see a loved one was in person. Meantime, I'm now counting down to Christmas when we can all be together again. That's just my 2 cents, and your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
New details released giving more clarity to what happened the evening of a mass shooting in Raleigh that left 5 people dead, 2 more injured. A look at what we've learned. Plus, monkeypox has fallen from the headlines recently, but that doesn't necessarily mean the virus is gone. What's happening with monkeypox now?
And polls are open for early voting. Everything you need to know if you're planning to beat the rush and vote early.
We start tonight with a child in Davidson County is safe after an anonymous call to the sheriff's office.
Now, that tip led deputies to a child locked outside in a dog kennel. Temperatures at the time were below freezing. WFMY News